The perfect marriage. For most people, betrayal comes out of nowhere. But when I look back now, I realize the signs were always there. My name is Daniel. I'm 32 years old, and until last year, I believed I had the perfect life. I had a stable job as a financial analyst, a comfortable house in a quiet neighborhood, and a wife who meant everything to me. Her name was Emily. We met 6 years ago at a friend's birthday party. She had this warm smile that made everyone feel comfortable. Within minutes of meeting her, I knew she was different. 3 years later, we got married. The first years of our marriage were exactly what people dream about. Sunday breakfasts, movie nights, long drives with music playing loudly. Emily wasn't just my wife. She was my best friend. Or at least, that's what I thought. The first strange change. Things started changing about a year ago. At first, it was so small that I barely noticed it. Emily began going on late-night walks. Every night around 11:30 p.m., she would put on her coat and quietly say, "I'm just going for a walk." The first time she did it, I didn't think much of it. Everyone needs fresh air sometimes. But then it became a daily habit. Every night, 11:30 p.m., walk. Come back around midnight. Sometimes even later. One night I asked her, "Why so late?" She shrugged and smiled. "It helps me clear my head." I nodded. Because when you trust someone, you don't question everything. The distance between us, but over time, something else started to change. Emily became distant. She used to tell me everything about her day. Now she barely spoke during dinner. Her phone was always face down on the table, and if a message notification appeared, she quickly grabbed it before I could see it. One evening I joked, "Are you secretly texting a celebrity?" She laughed, but it sounded forced. And for the first time in our marriage, something felt wrong. The sleepless night. One night, I woke up at 2 a.m. Emily wasn't in bed. My heart skipped a beat. I walked into the living room. She was sitting on the couch texting someone. When she noticed me, she immediately locked her phone. "Couldn't sleep," she said quickly. Something about her tone felt defensive. But I didn't push further. Because part of me was afraid of the answer. The growing suspicion. Weeks passed. Her late-night walks continued. But now they lasted longer. Sometimes an hour. Sometimes 90 minutes. One night, I looked outside the window and watched her walk down the street. Instead of heading toward the park, she turned in the opposite direction. Toward the old apartment buildings. My stomach tightened. Why would she go there? That night, I barely slept. The thought kept repeating in my mind. What if she's meeting someone? The night everything changed. 2 days later, I decided to follow her. It felt wrong, but the doubt inside me was becoming unbearable. At 11:30 p.m., she left the house like usual. 5 minutes later, I quietly stepped outside. The night air was cold and silent. I kept my distance as she walked quickly down the street. Then I saw something that made my heart sink. She stopped in front of a small apartment building. She looked around, then walked inside. My chest felt heavy. Why would my wife secretly visit an apartment building at midnight? I waited outside. Every minute felt like an hour. The moment my heart broke, after about 40 minutes, the door opened. Emily stepped outside. But she wasn't alone. A man walked out behind her. He was tall, wearing a dark jacket. They stood close together. Too close. Then I saw her smile. The same smile she used to give me. And then, she hugged him. My entire world collapsed in that moment. The longest walk home. I didn't confront them there. I couldn't. Instead, I slowly walked back home. Every step felt heavier than the last. The house felt colder than ever. I sat in the dark living room, waiting. 30 minutes later, Emily walked through the door. She froze when she saw me sitting there. "Daniel, why are you awake?" I looked at her quietly and said, "I followed you tonight." The color drained from her face. The truth. For a moment, she said nothing. Then tears started forming in her eyes. "Who is he?" I asked. Her voice shook. "His name is Ryan." I felt a wave of anger. "Your boyfriend?" She quickly shook her head. "No, my ex." That answer somehow made everything worse. She admitted they had been talking again for months. At first it was just messages, then phone calls, then secret meetings. The late-night walks were just an excuse. The final decision, that night we argued for hours. She cried. She begged me to forgive her. She swore nothing physical happened, but in my mind, the damage was already done. Because betrayal doesn't start with cheating. It starts with secrets. And our marriage was full of them now? The next morning, I called a lawyer. 2 weeks later, I filed for divorce. 6 months later, life slowly started moving forward. It wasn't easy, but the pain faded over time. Then one day, something unexpected happened. I ran into Emily at a grocery store. She looked different. Tired. Almost broken. We talked for a few minutes. Then she told me something surprising. Ryan had left her. Apparently, he never wanted a serious relationship. She had destroyed her marriage for someone who never planned to stay. Final line, viral ending. As I walked away from that conversation, I realized something important. Sometimes people don't realize the value of what they have until they lose it forever. And by the time they understand, it's already too late. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more amazing stories like this.